Hello, Krishnan College. Welcome to episode number 11. And today I am honored to present a master at the keyboard and a goat with the circuits. Jamie, nice to have you on the podcast. How's it going?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor.
Dude, dude, of course. Thanks, Jamie. So I guess I'll just kick it right off to you in honor of the World Cup. I'll kick it off to you to get us started. So introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm James. I go by Jamie. I'm a rising junior electrical engineering student at Penn State, and I'm also in a band with Akshay, which is how we set this up. And I'm really excited to share my personal experiences and knowledge with you guys.
Dude, it's gonna be awesome. So, I guess I'll kick it off with just talking about your major, which is electrical engineering. So, was that always the plan for you when you were in high school, or when did you really find the passion for the electrical engineering?
Um, That's a good question. I think for a while when I was younger, I kind of jumped around between a lot of different things. It's not that I wasn't sure that what I wanted to do. It was that I thought there was a lot of things that I could do. And then I've been involved with music for a very long time, but I started to get a lot more serious with it around like high school. And there was this one time I visited a vintage electronic music museum out in Harleysville, and I was with other music students and my music teacher when I was a part of School of Rock at Fort Washington. And when we went to this museum, it kind of showed me a different side of music that I was aware of that existed, but I wasn't necessarily too interested in it, and that would be electronic music and just the combination of technology and music in general. And that experience kind of opened up the idea to me of, hey, maybe I can take, what I'm good at academically with like math and science and also my passion for music and put those two things together and get the best of both worlds. Because I knew I didn't want to pursue a career in music just because I'd rather have it be something fun and not really like a full-time job kind of thing. And I think this was a really great way of getting to stick with that and then also get to do more science things. So from that point, I kind of set in stone like what I was gonna go to school for, and that was electrical engineering because of a lot of like the microphones and speakers and synthesizers especially. And then I'm also minoring in music technology, which is kind of on the more arts and music side of that coin. So I'm getting a really good balance of both ideas.
Yeah, for sure. And just hearing about your story is really fascinating because as another engineer who is very passionate about music, I can relate to a lot of the sentiments that you're expressing. So that is awesome. Now, when you were applying to those schools with this passion in mind, did that academic focus play a factor in your decision of school?
I think it played a lot into my selection of schools that I applied to, but not necessarily where I ended up
Got
going.
it.
I
Mhm.
applied to five schools. I applied to Penn State, University of Pittsburgh, University of Delaware, University of Maryland, and Drexel.
Hmm.
And all of them had their different pros and cons of like why that was somewhere I was going to apply. And then I think the biggest thing of why I ended up at Penn State specifically is because I'm part of like those families where every other person went to Penn State. And,
Yep.
when I ended up touring here, I wasn't too like ready to leave home and go to college until I toured Penn State and I was like, this is what I thought it was supposed to be like. And it just felt right. And I knew that this is where I needed to be.
Yeah, the Penn State campus, I mean, speaking from experience, it definitely has a feel. So
Yeah.
I think it's really important to find that feel, and I think it's really like expressive the way that you explained it. So awesome. So once you arrived to college, what was that initial adjustment like? I guess both academically and socially.
Um, well, so I was part of the summer session program, which means I went from graduating high school to a week later coming up to school with basically no summer in between. I think that definitely made the transition a lot easier. It was only freshmen, and then we were all cooped up in our little corner of campus,
East.
and it really gave us an opportunity to get adjusted to, we only had a couple classes and our schedules were lighter and everyone was kind of in the same boat. And I think that was a really great way to get adjusted to um, that kind of experience of being away from home and going to college rather than just coming up in the fall with all of the other freshmen and then all of the other students as well and just getting thrown into it.
Definitely. And was there a separate application that you had to do for the summer start, or was that just something that was suggested once you got
So,
accepted?
in the application, there was something you could fill out. Would be like, I'm interested in participating in this. A lot of times, you'll end up, students will end up having to do it as like a requirement to be admitted into the school.
Hmm.
But I heard a lot of really great things about it, and I wanted to do it, so I ended up just
Yeah.
picking it just so I could come up earlier.
Nice. And it sounds like a really good opportunity to get acclimated. So that is awesome. So now I guess moving into your projects and internships in college, which these are really cool guys. So stay tuned. So I see here you have the EMEAPP, Electronic Music Education and Preservation Project. So how did you find out about this initiative and what was it like day to day?
So this is actually going back to earlier in my story. This is the Electronic Music Museum I was talking
Oh, got it.
about.
Yeah.
So MEAPP, and they're also known as MMT, which is the Museum of Music Technology. Um, I heard about this through School of Rock and my music teacher, and so he ended up, my keyboard teacher ended up working there, and like post graduating high school, I kept in touch, and I was interested in what was going on there. And when it came time to thinking about how I can start developing my career and learning things out in the field, I reached out and I said, "Hey, I'm really interested in this kind of stuff and I would love to be a part of it in any way I can. And I'm home for the whole summer, so please let me know." And thankfully, we worked together a lot in the past with music, and we had a pretty good relationship with working together, and that let us quickly just figure things out and get me into that internship position, and then the rest is history from there.
Nice. And this was your freshman year summer, right?
Yes, this was the summer after my freshman year going into sophomore.
Yeah, and I remember you saying that you helped restore a vintage synthesizer. So so I know some people listening to this may not be familiar with what that entails. So how did you really connect your electrical engineering background with that with that music technology input to like really accomplish this project? And what did you learn from it?
Yeah, so what was really great about the experience is they had another electrical engineer on site or on call to come in and service a lot of the gear because of all of the gear at the museum being really old. I mean, like 80s at the youngest, maybe some 90s stuff. Everything is in constant need of service. And what's really great from an electrical engineering standpoint about these devices is that a lot of them are more easily serviceable rather than modern instruments and electronics that are more software based.
Hmm.
So I was fortunate enough to work with an experienced technician and electrical engineer who helped me take what I learned freshman year, as well as some of the stuff I studied on my own, to apply that in a musical context.
That sounds really fun. It sounds like you had a great time with that project,
Yeah.
just from the way that you talk about it. And then actually, I saw your LinkedIn post as well, like once we finished opening for Zara and just seeing your input on all the different types of technology present on the stage during a live performance was really interesting to like to read about. So you can clearly tell that you've gained a wealth of knowledge through these experiences. So it's really interesting to see.
Yeah, opening for Zara Larson was definitely a really amazing experience, and I'm glad that we actually got to share the stage together. And I remember the day of, I was going around to a lot of the audio engineers running the soundboards and the lights and looking at the instruments and just asking if I can get pictures because, the main driving factor besides my passion for music in general is allowing others to create music and
Mhm.
allowing others to hear music. And none of that would have been possible without all of the engineers and all of the musicians and all of the technicians responsible for designing those technologies. And it was just really exciting to get to perform on a stage with such high quality stuff and get
Mhm.
to enjoy it.
Yeah, just the amazingness of that sound was surprising to me because it's rare that you get such a qualified team of engineers and technicians and staff to come together at a venue. So I guess that hopefully one day, we can get big with Sequoia and we have those people for us because it truly does make a difference in the sound. Like if you don't know much about music, then it may just seem like, oh, they just set up the mics and like turn them up, turn them down, but no, there's so much more than that. And that's why music technology is like truly something that is important because in my opinion, like live music will never go away. I mean, we're gonna have the proliferation of Spotify and streaming services and hey, that stuff is already massive. But there's truly something special about coming together at a live venue with a bunch of people and just soaking it all in, like not through a screen, you know? So I
Yeah.
think it's awesome that like your work so far has really helped you like keep that going and keep that alive and make it better too. So awesome. So now for this summer, I know that you're up at State College and your work is very interesting. So just tell us about that.
So, earlier in the school year, everyone in the electrical engineering, computer science majors got an email from the department about a unique research opportunity exclusive to our majors, where instead of just working at somewhere like the Applied Research Lab under Penn State, you would be working specifically with in my case, an electrical engineering faculty member on a specific topic and getting to develop your research skills as well as your understanding of that topic throughout the school year. And um, I saw that, and I really saw that as an opportunity to really step up my understanding of the field rather than just, either going back to where I was last summer or just getting a regular job. Because I'm sure, as you know, the ability to get internships and jobs is a bit difficult right now.
Hmm.
So, after not really seeing anything back from my applications, I saw that as a really great opportunity to get some more experience. And I was fortunate enough to be selected as one of 50, I believe, out of 180 applicants. And my specific topic is on antenna design with communication systems. Now, my interests with like music technology and that kind of like analog circuit kind of design is not necessarily related, but a lot more with the communication systems is where my interest is. Anything audio based is something that I also have an interest in. And I think that a lot of times, if you pigeonhole yourself in too narrow of concepts, you might lose sight on things that might help you. And I think getting more variety in the types of classes I'm taking and the type of information I'm learning is going to be really important. So, like a lot of the RF concepts, a lot of the antenna concepts wouldn't necessarily be something that I would spend a lot of time learning in my elective courses and my just standard electrical engineering courses. But I think although it's not related entirely to what I want to do, I think it's going to help me down the line.
For sure. And I'm excited to hear more about that once you wrap up with that when we get back to school. So thanks for sharing, Jamie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I know that your future plans include grad school, right? And like you've told me this before, but what do you plan to do with that degree once you eventually complete grad school?
So, with the research, especially, getting more into academia is something that has been very interesting to me. And that was a major reason why I also was very interested in this research opportunity.
Mhm.
Um, I always say that if I could be a professional student, that would be my dream job.
Professional student.
I really like school. I really like learning, and I also really like working with others, especially when it comes to learning new things and just curiosity. And um, I think it's a bit too soon just because I still have 2 years left of school
Hmm.
to know what if I'm going to end up pursuing a master's, PhD, or anything else. But
Right.
it's definitely something that's on the table for me, and the research will definitely help set me up for. And I think one thing that I didn't realize until I got here and like a year or two in is that our school specifically has one of the best or one of the only dedicated acoustics programs. So most schools have acoustics, but it's usually under applied physics. Penn State, I'm pretty sure, is the only school in the United States with an acoustics master's and PhD, just as a
Wow.
standalone thing. And I think that's something that I've looked into and I will continue to as I progress through the rest of my classes. And I think it's something I'm genuinely considering.
Hmm. That sounds like a really cool opportunity. And like for those who don't know, like what does acoustics kind of consist of? What do you study when you're studying acoustics?
So my specific interest in the field of acoustics, when I was considering my like potential grad degrees, I was either thinking an electrical engineering degree with a focus in the same kind of stuff I'm doing now, which is like
Yeah.
music technology, or an acoustics degree, which is studying the way sound and waves propagate through different media and just understanding how sound and noise work in the world and taking that degree and focusing in more on the electronic side of that. And I found that there were more classes in the acoustics program that aligned with my interests than there were classes in the electrical engineering program that did. And
Wow.
I can definitely just blend the two as
Hmm.
well.
That sounds really cool. I'm looking forward to hearing what you decide when it gets to
Yeah.
that time. So we shall see in the near future. So that is awesome. So I guess kind of backtracking a little bit to the undergraduate perspective. Did you have to like excessively speak with advisors like to fit in that music tech minor with your electrical engineering major, or did you kind of consult academic plans, or how did you effectively pursue that academic path?
Well, so I think the internet is a fantastic resource.
Love the
A lot of
internet.
times I'll be with people and they'll ask questions, and you know, I don't know the answers to like 95% of things, but fortunately, we all have computers and phones. And I think using the internet as a resource for academic planning as well as advisors is a really great way to figure out what classes you need to take and what direction you need to take. So I thankfully Penn State has a lot of really great resources online about specific degree requirements and entrance to major and entrance to minor requirements. And so for my music technology minor specifically, I had to write an email to the faculty of the department and complete two entrance classes, and now I'm officially in it. But and this it's the same thing with the engineering majors here. You have to complete specific classes before you're officially admitted into the major. And usually with advisors, I usually check in around like once a semester with my advisor. When it was a pre-major advisor, and now I have my major advisor. And usually I'll just talk about, what classes I'm planning to take and, what they've heard from other students about these classes, whether or not, like what the balance between the difficulties of classes is going to be and whether or not it's like the ordering of things. And I found that really helpful.
Yeah, building a good relationship with the advisor is definitely something that works across fields of study, regardless of what you're pursuing, especially if you have special passions within your major. It can be really useful if you're following a more niche academic path. So that's awesome advice. Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah.
So, so we're nearing the end. So I want to ask you just some fun, fun questions, Penn State related. So for those that are interested in and eventually attending University Park. Listen up. All right. Best study spot at Penn State. Go.
Oh, well, so this is a bit of a controversial one, but so my favorite study spot is actually non-existent anymore.
Oh,
So my freshman year, in between two of the engineering buildings, there was a building called Kunkel Lounge.
yeah, Kunkel.
And I had about like an hour and a half between two classes my freshman fall, where I was in the building right next to it, and that's where I would be. And it ended up being just like where I would get a lot of work done. And it kind of just, those two things with like getting work done and that location associated themselves with each other. Uh, I don't know what their plans are for rebuilding it with the renovations to the
Mhm.
building, but that was definitely my favorite spot.
Yeah, so that's the one that's next to Sackett, right?
Yeah, it was in between the
Okay.
Sackett building and the Hammond building.
Yeah. So for context, that whole area is getting renovated. I believe spring 2027, it's gonna be ready. That's what I saw.
I'm not exactly sure, but I really
Yeah,
hope it's
got it.
back
Yeah.
before I graduate because I'd love to get some work done there.
Yeah, you can reminisce on your freshman lock in there. That'll be fun. All right, let's see. Oh, this one's a good question. What's your favorite piece of audio gear? It can be vintage or modern, anything.
I mean, I think I have a couple answers. I think the
Yeah, go
easiest the
ahead.
easiest answer is the Shure SM58. I
Hmm.
mean, if you think about a microphone in your head, that's
Yeah,
usually
sure.
the
Yeah.
image that everyone would associate. It's withstood the test of time. It's probably the most popular microphone now and of all time, and for
Mhm.
good reason. I think it performs well, it's durable, and I think that's something that I look up to for my career of I want to create something that is not just cool, but also timeless.
Right.
And then
Right.
from a more musical side of things, the Yamaha CS80, which
Mhm.
is a vintage synthesizer, is probably my like equally favorite piece of gear. It's um it's probably best explained by hearing just like audio clips from it. It was used in a lot of movie soundtracks. It was used by a lot of bands. Um, it was kind of just like, I mean, back then, in order to make something really great, it had to be super big and super heavy, which it is, and super expensive. But it really just takes things to the next level in terms of expression and sound design and just character.
Awesome. Yeah, wait, those are some really cool instruments. I have to check out the Yamaha one myself. I'll report back to you on that. Alrighty. And what's been your favorite Sequoia moment? So for those who don't know, we're both in a band. Follow us on Instagram at sequoia.psu. Um, Shameless plug. But yeah, Jamie, what's been your favorite moment?
Um, I mean, so I'm the newest member of the band, but I've known everyone in the band for a decent amount of time before I joined. Um, I think besides just like when we're not playing music and just like hanging out, but also when we are playing, like anytime we hang out, I think is a good time because we're all equally crazy and silly,
Yep.
and we just all have really great senses of humor that blend together. And there's a lot of really funny moments. But I think like a particular moment for me was when we won Battle of the Bands, which is what gave us our opening slot for Czar Larson. That was actually the first time I played live for like a big audience in almost 2 years.
Wow. Yeah.
Um, I practiced, but I performed a lot more in high school than I did in college. I got caught up in a lot of like clubs and activities and school, and it kind of just fell to the side. And when I got the opportunity to join Sequoia and play again, and then my first gig back being such a great victory like that, it was just a really great full circle moment, and it really I'll look back on that for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna be dad lore on my end. Yeah, but like, I mean, you can even just see from the pictures, like from that event, like we were all beaming with joy, just like all just coming together for that moment. So, oh man, that's a good one. Alrighty, well, where can listeners find you, Jamie? Do you have a LinkedIn?
Yes, I do have a LinkedIn. I don't have the specific link, but I'm
Just
sure
search
you
up
could,
James Paul,
yeah, I'm
right?
sure
James
you can put
Paul?
it in the description of this video or wherever
Yeah.
you are posting it. Please connect. I'm active on LinkedIn. I'm constantly looking at what people are doing. I'm constantly looking at different job postings and, different achievements people are getting done. And I just think it's a really great way I think it's in a weird way the best kind of social media because it's really a celebration of everyone's hard work and achievements. And I think that's really cool.
All right, you heard it here, folks. Connect with Jamie on LinkedIn. And Jamie, thank you so much for your
Yeah,
time
of course, man.
today evening. Great conversation as
Yeah.
always, and I can't wait to get back to State College and continue going with Sequoia.
I can't wait to see you up here.
All righty, folks. It's been episode number 11 of Krishnan College. See you soon. Peace. Bye bye.
Bye.